this is Monica from Looking for Group. Today I'm here with Martin Schelasin, the esports head coach at Thomas College. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Eager to start talking about the program I have here.
Sweet, glad to hear it. So let's just go ahead and dive in. The first question I have for you is, how did the program get started at Thomas? How did the program get started at Thomas?
Yeah, so the program at Thomas actually kicked off. It would have been 2 years just about at this point. And more or less, interestingly, the way that things kicked off is we had a philanthropic alumni who has donated numerous times to the institution actually come to Thomas and say point blank, I think esports would be a great opportunity for the college. If you put together a proposal, I'll make it happen for you. Naturally, the administrators, although they didn't have a ton of expertise in the area, jumped on the opportunity, started putting together a plan. And just around 3 months later is when I sort of entered the fold as the person with the esports industry expertise to make the rest happen. And from there, the program has exploded since. We're now up to 44 players, 11 teams, and it's been on the up and up. So
that is excellent. So 44 players. Tell me a little bit about how that dynamic is shifted between casual and competitive play. What kinds of leagues does your competitive side play on, if any? And what is the dynamic of the casual side of your organization, if you have one?
So it's a little bit interesting, obviously, in a COVID compliant world as we are right now. Historically, Thomas has been very focused more on exclusivity and engagement than we are looking for national titles necessarily. I mean, obviously, we compete, we take competition seriously, but we also understand that we're a small private college in central Maine and not a 30,000 student campus in Silicon Valley. So there are certain assumptions that you sort of have to take into consideration with that. And so we have gotten to the point now where we still have a very large casual contingent of players who play on a regular basis, have access to our facility as if they were a varsity player. But there's still priority given to varsity players, the rostered teams, as it were. So the 44 players that I list there are the ones who are on our varsity rosters, who do compete on a regular basis. In addition to those, I'd say there's 12 to 15 players who are in our arena on a daily, at least a weekly basis, just getting games in and engaging with the community. There's a gaming club at Thomas as well, where sort of a even more casual community exists. But that's sort of the overall outlay of the program. As far as conferences go, we're an ECAC member. We've previously competed in NACE seasons, although we aren't this one just due to scheduling conflicts. We've competed in CRL for Rocket League, TESPA for Overwatch, and Call of Duty, all of the major national conferences that you would expect out of a varsity program at this point.
All right. And for a student who might be watching this who would be interested in playing at the varsity level at Thomas, what kind of things would you recommend for them going into that? Is there an application process? Is there simply expressing interest at the time of application to the institution? How does that work for you?
Where we are a smaller campus, sort of our institutional agility is much higher. It's a matter of if you display interest somewhere along the chain of command, it will get sent my way eventually. There's not too many wires to cross, so it gets where it needs to. We do have a web form for interested applicants at thomas.edu/esports. Additionally, all of our admission counselors have direct ties into me, so if at any point applying to Thomas you indicate the fact you're interested in esports, it'll end up in my inbox.
Good to know. Awesome. So switching gears a little bit, and you touched on this a little earlier about the COVID regulations. Can you tell me a little bit about the space that you have on campus for your students and what the facilities are like, what the PCs that you have are, and any peripherals and partnerships that you have that you'd like to share?
Yeah, so our arena pre-COVID was a 10-computer dedicated facility that students had access to from 7 a.m. to midnight, 6 days a week. Since COVID, it has, due to space restrictions, been brought down to 6 maximum head count. We have plexi barriers between every single setup. As far as the setups themselves, we have sort of the full suite of Alienware equipment. We have Area 51 Threadripper towers, so completely overkill, frankly, for any esports title that's out there. 240 hertz monitors and the full suite of Alienware peripherals as well.
Very awesome. A total Dell Alienware campus. I like that. And
Yep.
I'm kind of, everybody has the Aurora. So I was very happy to hear that there is a little of a variety there.
Yeah, these are I mean, you can see like the corner of one right
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
these like giant, chunky, pyramidal
They are
beasts. They're insane.
Alienware ones are very large. I like my
Yeah.
mid-sized towers. So I'm good. So, but awesome. So switching gears a little bit, can you tell me something unique about Thomas College's program? It can be anything from the academic side to the competitive side to the casual side to maybe that you serve as some sort of academic advisor, something along those lines.
Yeah, so I think the clearest and foremost one that I always mention to people is the fact that Thomas kind of shatters the mold of what people expect from an esports supporting college, and that we're not a huge campus. We're not in some major city or technology hub. We're literally smack dab in the center of Maine, surrounded by nature, and yet we are still technology and progressively minded enough to where we have a fully supported varsity esports program. It's a unique opportunity for students who don't necessarily want that 15,000 plus student campus or don't want to have to relocate to California or a major city to still be able to pursue esports and have that connection to the outdoors.
That's amazing. It's like you can go on a quest in your game, and then you can go on a quest in real life to, I don't know,
Literally,
nature
though, I
hiking
mean,
trail.
you,
That's great.
you can go climb a mountain in your game and then hike a mountain in real life in 15 minutes worth of drive.
Well, let's actually, there's questions that I have for you that's not on the list. Do you do anything like that in your program to,
Yeah.
okay, sweet, sweet. Tell me a little bit
So,
about
yeah,
the
yeah.
fitness aspect. Yeah.
So, this is very much so like the domain that I personally am the most invested in. So, my background is I was a professional World of Warcraft player back when I was 16, like
Wow.
contracted, making significant money, flying
Wait,
internationally.
wait. Hoarder Alliance.
Should I say? Is this a trap? No, no.
No, 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 you're good.
I played Horde at the time just
All right.
because, yeah, the class that I
It's all
played
right.
was
Loktar
it all made
Ogar,
sense.
man. Loktar Ogar. I hear
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, perfect.
yeah.
So way back in the day, I was a professional player. That was sort of where I made my entrance into esports. Competed for around a year, backed off the competitive play, and transitioned more into a content creator role where I was making content as a League of Legends multi-challenger for 3 seasons. Then I pivoted into far more like career-focused stuff for a 2 year span. I refocused onto the degree that I was going to school for, which was finance at the time. Got a degree, got my degree finished, worked for a private equity firm for 2 years, and then pivoted back into esports once I realized I hated that industry and I was too passionate about esports to make it work.
You
So
tried. You
made it
tried.
all the way around, and this is long story coming back to the actual initial question, which was talking about fitness, is because I have lived this for so many years, I have a far more concentrated uh, eye for holistic performance than a lot of esports programs across the country. I've worked with tier one professional organizations in Europe to create a mandatory fitness program. We have direct relationships with academic coaching that is mandatory for everyone in my program. We have direct relationships with student counseling that are mandatory for everyone in my program. It is a setup where we are not only creating better gamers, we're creating better humans. And the extent to which we can make that mandatory, it's not with the mind of we want to force you to do stuff. It's that we understand that this is critical, whether or not you realize it needs to be, and so we
Yep.
facilitate that for the students as much as we can.
I love that. Straight and to the point. Very unique indeed. Awesome. So, with that in mind, I have one last question for you that this might take some time to answer because you can take it from any angle. For a student who's watching this right now who's interested in applying to your program, what is some advice that you would give them, or what's something that you'd want them to know walking into the program, either specifically, generally, or from the college search process as a whole? Or all the above?
Oh man,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm gonna give an equally abstract answer to this abstract question, which is what you need to know and what you should know is going to be wholly personal.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the best thing that you can do as a player looking to pursue esports in any capacity is to know what that capacity looks like. If you can walk in my door, sit down with me, and have a conversation and say, what I want to get out of esports is, then you are on a better track than 99% of people who want to enter this field. I do that with all of my players, and it's something that I'm very happy I have the capacity to do, just due to the size of my program, where I will literally sit down with every single player, say, what does esports mean to you? What do you want to get out of it? And what do we need to pursue to make that happen and become a reality? And that will vary wildly player to player. Some of them are just, I'm looking at this as a social outlet to play with my friends. Others are, I have genuine professional aspirations, and the trajectories that we have to put those players on are completely different worlds. But the fact that people can come to me day one and have that in their minds and know which trajectory we want them on is huge.
So knowing yourself first, would you
Exactly.
say? Yeah.
Knowing what you want and being able to articulate it is absolutely massive.
I gotta admit, as a 24-year-old adult, I still struggle with that. So,
exactly. Well, I mean, that's
for anyone listening right now, it's okay if you don't have it down pat. But awesome, Martin. This was a great talk. I think the students are going to get a lot of good information out of this. Thank you so much for your time today.
For sure. Absolutely.
Awesome.
It was a pleasure.